Hi everyone, welcome to our monthly donor update. As you all know, I love sharing some of the inside and outs of what we're working on here at PragerU, and we have had a very exciting year. We launched 3 new shows, the Dennis Prager Fireside Chat, Will Whitman on the Streit, and Candace Owens show. All 3 shows have been massively popular. What is so awesome about that is that we have been able to diversify our audience by diversifying our content. People are now coming to PragerU to watch all kinds of shows. They're watching our shows on digital media, on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Everywhere you go, you can find PragerU, and it's very exciting. One quick announcement was that last month alone, we had over 40 million unique views on PragerU, which is very, very exciting, and thanks to our new shows. As we're going into the third quarter of the year, we're starting to make some plans for next year, asking our questions, what are our audiences going to want to see? And of course, they're going to want to see more shows because our shows are working so great. One of the shows that we're working on is an exciting investigative reporting with one of my favorite, probably few real journalists still available on this earth. And that is, of course, James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. So it is my pleasure to announce to you that in 2020, we will have a show with James O'Keefe. And James O'Keefe is here with me to talk about his unbelievably exciting show. So welcome, James.
Great to be here.
James, tell us a little bit about your vision for this new show that we're going to be launching together.
Well, you said journalism, and journalism is dying in this country, and very few people have the will, the ability, the inclination to expose truth. Truth is inconvenient to a lot of the people, the powers that be. So my vision is that we're going to take you behind the scenes doing what we do at Project Veritas, doing the investigative reporting, the undercover work, exposing Google and Facebook and Twitter and network news and what it's like to break those stories. We live in a country where being informed is important in a democratic republic. Our country's people need to be informed, but breaking those stories and circumventing the powers that be and being sued and being falsely accused, I think it's important for your supporters and people at large to understand what one endures doing that. And it's also just fascinating human intrigue, drama. As they say, truth is stranger than fiction. So we hope this series is enlightening and educational and gives people a sneak view what it takes to do this sort of work.
What so excites me about this show is that I've oftentimes said, wow, I'd love to be on James's shoulder and see what is he actually seeing firsthand, because we always hear like little snippets about your work and we hear the results, but the process is so fascinating. And this is kind of a way for us to see what you go through. I mean, what you're doing is really not easy. Obviously, everybody knows it takes a lot of courage and a lot of work. And I think it's going to be really cool to be able to see some of the ups and downs that you experience by allowing us to follow you and see what you're doing firsthand.
Ever since we started this week, the week that I'm here, it's the 10-year anniversary of the Acorn story, where I went as a pimp and my colleague said she was a prostitute, and the Congress acted. Obama signed legislation taking money away from Acorn 10 years ago because of 2 kids with a video camera and a cheap costume going into these different buildings. But yes, the story of what we felt like, the practicing, breaking the news and having the media attack us. The New York Times even apologized to us for ignoring the story. And it was an extraordinary series of events. And in each one of these investigations, it's its own little movie. I mean, we've been in court more times than I can count, and we've won. And being deposed and being sued and dealing with these forces, it's really an extraordinary story. And we have footage that we've never released. So we think this is a great partnership. We think you guys are doing amazing things and you're getting the message out. You know, the conservatives and the Republicans, they're not good at telling stories usually. They're not focused on telling stories. We need to tell more stories. We need to expose things in a way that reaches people, that moves people, that affects people, not just policy wonk stuff or telling you who to vote for, but really telling you how the way the world really works and how the people in these tech companies and these media companies intentionally and maliciously are misguiding the American people. So we're on those front lines, and I'm excited to tell the stories.
Well, your stories are fascinating. You're a great storyteller. And I think one of the reasons why this partnership is so important and so great is because we're really good at marketing. And
Yes.
what the media has done, especially big tech, they will do everything they can to suppress your story. And we want to do everything we can to bring your story to millions of people. And I think that is essentially the magic of this partnership. Your story will be told and shared while big tech is going to do whatever they can to make sure that nobody hears the story. And we're going to fight this together. And there are a few fighters out there, but you're definitely one of them, and so are we. And this is kind of this great partnership.
A legendary investigative journalist by the name of Polk once said that most people don't want to be in that exposed position. They don't want to be seen as affecting events rather than merely reporting on them. But to be an investigative journalist in the digital era, you know, people get hurt when you expose things. The truth hurts. The truth is inconvenient. But it's worthwhile. We must never forget that in a democracy, a democratic republic like ours, it's a service to expose things that need to be exposed. And in our very polarized world, it's tough to get the message out. And there are people, the powers that be here in California even, political prosecutions. Most people just don't have the will to break the story. But I admire Dennis Prager because he is that tip of the spear. He is willing to go there. And Google, as powerful as they are, I like to say that they're probably more scared of us than we are of them. They don't want to be caught red-handed with their secret blacklists and their banning people. They would lie potentially under oath about such things. So this is where the fight is, and people watching this need to know that in 2020 it's going to come down to big techs and their effects on all of it. It's really going to come down to that issue in particular. So we're going to be on the front lines.
Yeah, I'm sure there are going to be lots of episodes about big tech. And there's also a very exciting project that we're kind of working on together, which is the Whistleblower Advocate Project.
Yes.
So will you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, something very amazing is happening right now at Project Veritas. We have these insiders, these patriots. I had a Facebook woman working for Facebook, and her name was Cassandra, and she worked for the company. And she said, I felt that the public had a right to know what Facebook was doing, triggering special features before elections and considering people trolls who were not trolls. And she met me, about a year or two ago, and she said, I want to go public. Give me one of those cameras. She came out, which led to a cascade of other whistleblowers coming out. And eventually 3 different Google employees blew the whistle. One of the young men who blew the whistle on Pinterest, a big tech company, $15 billion company, that's where you share all your photos and pin things, he came public. And I said, how could you do this? And Eric Cochran said, because I'm not going to wait to make a change in the world. I'm going to make a change right now. It's very inspirational. And I think that there's this new movement happening in this country where brave patriots, it's a new form of service. It's a new calling. And we're trying to be there for them by, if necessary, paying for the litigation, till the bitter end. And they can't go to the New York Times. They can't go to CNN. They can't go anywhere. Those people would sell them out in a heartbeat. So there's no place for them to go. But they're disgusted by what's happening inside these companies. They're making tons of money, but they give it all up. They give it all up to inform the public. And that's what this is really about. It's about informing the public. The publics must know what these entities are doing. We're calling it the Be Brave campaign, and it's kind of a modification of our vision. So we're no longer just infiltrating and going undercover. The people who have the access say, hey, why don't you give me one of those little button cameras and I'll record the fraud and give it to you. And we're creating a movement.
Well, it's going to be very cool watching you guys do this, and it's going to be even more meaningful, especially for us at PragerU, to take a part in that, because people will see that there are other whistleblowers and they're more likely to step forward. Oftentimes when they see that they're not alone, that there is a massive organization behind them, that there are other people around them that will come and hold their hand and support them, and also get their message out. And they can blow the whistle and the New York Times or CNN will never publicize it, and they'll just lose their job and feel like they did it for nothing. So it's important that we're actually there amplifying their voices and getting the word out so people are really aware of the fact that there really is truly big tech censorship, and that these people who work there are willing to testify about it. So I'm very, very excited about that. That actually leads me to something that I've been dying to ask you, why are there 3 cell phones? None of these are mine, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you ever part with these cell phones, or you just carry them?
No, I mean, and these are only the phones you know about. No, these are.
Is there one in your sock over
yeah,
there?
it's like you slide it out of your arm, like in the old Western movies. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that you may see in some of our behind the scenes stuff. By the way, I'm a very transparent person. People probably say, "How can you give away all your trade secrets?" Well, listen, I mean, I know that upon publication, all my methods will be made public. We only protect our sources and some of our donors. But this phone is for working with sources. It's not connected to my name or to the organization. This phone's for communicating with my staff, and this is communicating with my assistant's office because she has to get me from place to place. So Veritas is kind of a combination of espionage meets journalism, but fundamentally we do believe so deeply in informing the public. And when you see this stuff come out, there's nothing as amazing as breaking news and watching it grow. And they are forced to cover it. And you'll see this, like you say, you're on my shoulder watching us circumvent the powers that be constantly lying about you and trying to trip you up. But at the end of the day, a little bit of light in a dark room, it just fills up the dark room with light. And that's just the moral of the story. It's that rock beats scissors, and a builder can build faster than a destroyer can destroy. So it's pretty exciting to see it unfold, and I do believe that this Insider program, the Be Brave program, it's going to create a chain reaction. More and more patriots are going to come out to the question, what can I do? People say, what can I do? What can I do? Well, as Dennis Prager says, you can donate to the fighters, you can be a fighter, or you can do nothing. So what I'm seeing is not just the people who are donating, but people themselves are becoming fighters. They're saying, you know what, I want to tell the truth. We're just trying to help them do it. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, it's amazing the lies out there that are written both about you and about PragerU and Dennis Prager. Anybody that gets to know you knows that you're such a good person. And you just work so hard. You've given your life to this project. And
yes.
And I know, you see with the 3 cell phones and the constant travel and the risks that you put yourself in, I just want to express gratitude for what you're doing. I mean, you're doing this for us, for the next generation, for the people watching this. And I don't know how often people get to say thank you. So, I want to say thank you. And also my way of saying thank you is being able to support your mission and what you're doing. And I know that all of our viewers and our supporters, our donors who support PragerU will want to come and support this show because we just want to get what you're doing out there. We want people to know about it. We want people to enlist in becoming whistleblowers, enlist in becoming troop suppliers. PragerU family, the PragerU community are not people that do nothing. So this is my commitment to you that we won't do nothing and we will support you. I got to ask one last question.
Yes.
What is your favorite university?
Oh, Prager University.
Hooray!
Come on. And there it is right behind it, PragerU. But let me just say one more thing about what you said. I think there's a temptation to be liked in the world, and I certainly got started. I never thought that people you get such vitriol and hatred standing for what you believe in. The people that I surround myself with, they only care about justice and truth and these fundamental things. It's not like we got into this for any other reason. And to be hated, that's the hardest thing to get used to, really. And obviously there's a lot of people who love what you do and what we do, and you have supporters watching this right now, and they care deeply about what we're doing, but you're also hated. And it's a hard thing to get used to. But then you realize that maybe being hated is a sign of respect. And over time, I do think, to borrow the Martin Luther King line, the arc of the moral universe does bend towards justice. And I think that, the New York Times is visiting you recently and has done some work, and they're scared of what you've built, and they admire you. And I think the same can be said of Project Veritas. I think there's a secret respect budding for the fact that we have stood strong and we have stood against enormous forces, and we're still standing. So I think as long as you have integrity and you fight for what's right and you stand by your principles, which is harder to do than you think. It's easy to bend in the wind, but as long as you stand for your principles, I think we'll work out just fine. And I think there's a lot of hope left for this country with these brave patriots like Eric Cochran, who you're interviewing today. So I look forward to sharing more stories with you.
Well, we look forward to working with you. And we're not only still standing, we're just getting started.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining in for our donor update, and thank you for supporting us. We look forward to seeing you again next month.